And hi, everybody. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on, YouTube and other social media. So thanks for coming. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you see that dollar sign below me, you can holler for $1 or whatever they call it and contribute to the cause of a long season as everybody files in. Basically, we've done every week since, I don't know, late July, somewhere in there. So didn't miss one. Did it the bye week too. So we are coming to the end of this season's live chats. I'm going to Hawaii on vacation. so I'm taking the next month off of all of this. I'm not in Hawaii a whole month. And then I'll be back mid-March for free agency, and we'll do the live Monday chats then through, the draft, whatever, somewhere there, May. And then I'll take another break till the season starts again. So once more, Steve, you are first again. You're going out on a winning streak here overall. So I'll let everybody follow. And we got 15 people already just jumped in. So thank you all for coming so much. It's been a heck of a long season. I was looking at next year's Super Bowl odds, and the team is 18-1. They're like the sixth choice. We'll see what happens on all that. All right, first question to Greg. Tell Harris after watching last night needs to spend big on defense. Yeah, I got that right. So, I wrote on Yardbarker today. I write some for yardbarker.com and ricksniderswashington.com, among other things, listen, Philly just showed them a blueprint for what they've got to do. You need a better pass rush, which is maybe take that Cleveland defensive end who wants out of there, get him. And you're going to need I think they need a right tackle because they've got to face that Philly pass rush twice. And this year, every time they managed to win one of the 3 games against the Eagles, the only team to beat the Eagles since early October. But you're going to need to withstand that pass rush too. So to me, your 2 lines are your main thing if you really want to get all the way. Steve, got tickets for Valentine's Day at the Moose Lodge. Whoa, you're just a romantic, aren't you, Steve? Do you get to rub the moose head or something? We have a Moose Lodge around where I live. I don't think I've ever been in it though. Joe, do you think the team will use the old Redskins logo for shirts? That's possible somewhere in there. They're not changing the name. I was kind of disappointed in how much blowback the fans had last week when Josh Harris said, hey, we're not going back to the name. And so many of you not you, but so many people who praised Josh Harris and loved him and got the team in the NFC Championship suddenly are yelling, F you, you're not taking my favorite name. There isn't a name to go to. You can't go back to the Redskins, and there isn't a new name that everybody's going to love. So let's just move on from this. But you can wear your old Redskin gear. People are like, I'm going to wear my old Redskin gear anyway. Ain't nobody telling you not to. Nobody's telling you to do that. That's in your head, man. This country, we cannot listen to each other anymore. We're too busy shouting. Let's try and listen. I have 4 grandchildren. I'll talk like that to them. Last night, the 4 grandkids watched Super Bowl with me a little. But every time Andy Reid was sharing, they're going, hey, Grandpa, there's your brother. So actually, my brother looks nothing like me. Andy Reid looks more like me than my brother does. Bob's here. Glad you can make it. Brandon's in. Good. George. Sorry, Andy. Yeah, okay. I did a few Andy videos this week just to have fun with you guys. Yeah, Steve, that Pringles commercial. Ooh. If I'd shaved off my mustache, I'd have no lips. And so I decided no. Tom, I got to get you. And next month, Tom, we're going to get that garden going. I'll get back to you when I get back from Hawaii. Not happy overall, but winning helps. Well, yeah. Curious what uniform tweaks they make. I think they go more back into the color scheme of the Gibbs era, is what I would gather. I think they probably can get the Redskins throwback on some stuff. They're talking about doing a 3rd helmet. I don't think you'll see the Redskin logo on that, but you might see something. So there's some things in the works. Merchandise sales are such a small percentage of NFL revenues that It's not as important to them as you might think, but the NFL, they never leave a dollar on the ground. Hi, Milton. Glad you could come. Andy Reid didn't get his bundle Ruski. Yeah, well, he'll survive. Gregory, next 2 Super Bowls in California, San Francisco, and then LA, which have new stadiums. So that'll be interesting. I hated covering Super Bowls on the West Coast because 3 hours behind made a deadline just a bear every day. But whatever, San Francisco is one of my favorite places. And I'm going to be in LA next week, seeing my old Redskins beat partner, Jody, when we were at the Times together. Stopping by to see him on the way to Hawaii. I am finally my first big vacation in like 5 years. So I'm ready to go. Milton, put the feathers back on. Something's going to happen. I haven't heard. I've heard rumors, but I haven't heard anything, substantial to really say what's going on here. Kind of just letting the season finish, and then I'm taking a breath, and then I'll worry about stuff later. Eddie's back. So, wow, you got a busy life, man. From Jason's Deli. There you go. All right. Well, I'm killing the hour while Eddie's wife is doing choral practice versus wives who are, shopping or something. You're sitting in the car. So I know how it is. I've been married 44 years, so I know how it is. Let's see. Thomas really want the 18-game schedule on the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend. Here's the thing I don't quite understand. And I got a survey today. Somebody did a poll about how many people. Maryland was like the 8th most didn't go to work today. Game was done on the East Coast at 10:15. So why can't you go to work? And out west, 7:15. I don't understand why people think you need a holiday the next day. Are you so blottoed you can't get up? I don't know. But I mean, President's Day weekend be fine, or you could move the game to Saturday, which I know seems a little weird, but what aren't we changing anymore? It seems like life is changing every day fast. So there's always been talk about doing the game on Saturday night. Daniel, sad the season's over. Well, okay, but now you get to do the off season and all the fun. They're a month or so away from free agency. It might be a couple trades beforehand. Who knows? Then the next thing you know, the draft is here, and then all the off-season camps, and then it's like a month of not much, and then here's training camp again. I mean, trust me, it goes quick. I've done 50 years of football somehow or another. And is this one my last one? I don't know. I said that last year because I was getting laid off by 106.7 The Fan at the end of the year, so I kind of thought, it might be the end. And then I decided to go work for Yardbarker a little bit, and I'm doing some other stuff. I'm working on my new cookbook that'll be out sometime soon. I've got a Blackstone. Let's see. Show you a picture. I was showing people my Blackstone grill I got. I got it on a Black Friday sale at Christmas. Thanksgiving. And what is it? Well, anyway. And so there's my Blackstone, 36-inch. And so I'm going to do some recipes on that. We put it together yesterday because I wasn't worried about it. I got it cheap. Got it really cheap. Good deal at the end of the year. And then, you're not going to do it in January. But I'm looking forward to messing with that and finishing my cookbook on Secrets of Caveman Cooking, which is around somewhere. It's the old book. I've regained the rights, and we're going to update it and all that stuff. Do I think it was Kelsey's last game, Gregory? I don't know. You have to ask Taylor that. Ooh, did you see they booed Taylor? Well, they were Eagles fans, Taylor. Don't take that personally. Just don't go there for a concert next year. Screw them. I just thought it was funny because Taylor's usually surrounded by, 70,000 screaming people ready to die for her. And she got a taste of what the other side of life can be. All right, Brandon, the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the Caps went on their cup run. Okay, I didn't remember that. Hey, the Capitals are doing great. I haven't been able to watch much of it, but now that football's over, maybe I can. So, we did. Oh, Eddie, thank you so much. Just got the note from that. So thank you, Eddie. I haven't even started begging for another 5 minutes. So maybe the Caps do something. Yeah, Clayton. I tell you what, I got my Blackstone at Tractor Supply. a lot cheaper than even cheaper than Costco was. But I waited till the end of the year, and that's way you get those end of year sales. They don't want to store them all winter, and I managed to walk away a couple $100 cheap on what it was, and just left it in a box till yesterday. My two son-in-laws were around. And I was like, for the Super Bowl, I was like, "Hey, let's put together the grill." So we're working on it now. I'm looking forward to. I've had been on one before. I used to cook in a steakhouse when I was a kid, and I had a grill that was about 12 feet wide, long going down, because I'd cook like 200 meals an hour sometimes. That's where I met my wife. So, it all worked out pretty well. So I'm looking forward to this. Well, let's see. I'm going to try breakfast on it too, like pancakes, things like that. I mean, anybody can cook a burger. Let's be real. Let's see. Milton, I hope we keep most of the roster. Well, you have 28 free agents. I think I could see maybe keeping about 20 of them, which would be a lot. But they've had a pretty good free agent class. We'll see. There's a few people they might lose, like, De'Ami Brown might get some crazy offer. So that would help him. Hey, go for it, If that's what the kind of money is like, go for it. Let's see. Gregory, I'm shocked you didn't pop the question last night. Yeah, man. I thought about it. Travis couldn't ask Taylor to marry him. Not after they just got their butts kicked on that field. If they had won and they're on the field celebrating, maybe. I saw the Las Vegas over-under on the ring was $500,000. I mean, I know Taylor's super rich too, but $500,000, man, what kind of rock does that buy? The best thing we have to watch now is what, Thomas? I don't know. You want to get a nice pizza oven? Yeah, I would go for that too. That's my next thing. If I build a gazebo next year, or maybe this year, now that we're in February, I was thinking about getting a pizza oven with it too. So we'll see. Then everybody will be over my house eating, and they'll eat me out of house and home. So let's see. I saw some different pizzas this week. I see so many videos now of pizzas that are like enormous. That's not the point. Good pizza doesn't have to be enormous. So, let's see. Tay, I'm glad you're getting in. Okay. Got a little while for the show to do today. I might end at 9. We'll see how it goes. Might go longer. It's so long as if you just got like this is the last one of the season. We've done it every week since July. I'm taking a month break and then I'll be back for free agency. But I'd like to do something on a Monday night besides this. But at least I'm not dog tired like most weeks. Okay, let's see. Do you think Peters collects more draft picks, Gregory? I have a feeling that Peters is going to move up into the teens on the draft. And that's just my opinion as a hunch. I just have a feeling he's going to move up from 29. And what is he going to get? I don't know. First off, tell me what they got in free agency and then tell me what's on the board. I mean, it's impossible to say right now. But I think if you're picking really late in the first round, maybe it's that offensive tackle they could use because he'd be a right tackle. I asked somebody today to look this up. I don't know the answer to it, but how often does Jaden Daniels run to the right versus the left? I want to say it's like 90% to the right. So you really need that right tackle, to protect him there because that's where he gets on the edge, either throws it or turns it upfield for 8-10 yard gain. So you really need a right tackle more than many other quarterbacks for that reason. So I got somebody looking it up, see what the percentage of that is. I wouldn't be surprised if he got more draft picks though, Gregory, but maybe they make a trade. Maybe they trade something like John Allen, or Payne. We'll see what happens. Steve, the Chiefs got turned into the chefs. Yeah, man, who wasn't surprised? Was it 24-0 or 27-0? I forget how bad it got. Then it gave up some cheap points at the end. I mean, Kansas City's main thing at the end was like, don't get shut out. But wow, I mean, the Eagles, I guess that, Commanders lost doesn't look quite as bad right now considering what the Chiefs got done to them. They gave the Eagles a tougher ride than the Chiefs did. A little surprised, but not greatly. I mean, I took the over, which at least I won that. My final record picking games, 140, 128, and 1, picking every game except Thursday games I didn't pick this season. So I had a winning record. But I took the Kansas City because it just seemed like they escaped all the time with wins. Not this time, man. The Eagles just said, we're going to put our foot on your throat right now. So, man, I'll give them credit. Give it credit. I hate seeing the Eagles win it, but yeah, they was fair and square. Let's see. You need a home run hitter, Thomas. Okay. Great. Let's see. It was 24-0. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was 24 or 27. All right. Dime. Whether we trade out of the first round picks next 2 years for Garrett, which may happen, or keep them, build a young depth, either way, win-win. I mean, I think Garrett would be a good one. I give up the 2 1s. Maybe you got to give up a player or two to get over somebody else. And you want to keep him away from some other people too. He wants to go to a contender. If he goes to the AFC, fine. But you don't want him on another NFC team. So I'd go for him if I go the 2 1s. And then if it's the player, well, it can't be JD. It can't be Terry McLaurin. I mean, I don't know what they'd want. Maybe they want Johnny Newton. I might be willing to do that. Flying Turtles here. Okay, the Eagles' defense is special. I mean, we're good. What do you need to counter it? Basically, speed more than anything. I mean, you need a line to hold, but you need JD to throw that ball quickly. Yesterday, Mahomes just didn't seem like he had any time to throw at all. All right, so you go in the shotgun and you learn to do a lot of quick throws. That's how you beat that kind of pass rush. Steve, yeah, the Commander signed Bobby Price today. Okay. Ding, ding. Yeah, I mean, really? Bobby Price? I'm not worried about that one. Thomas, the pressure Eagles generate while not blitzing yesterday was impressive. Yeah, I mean, these dudes, they were. And once you get that taste of blood like they did and that success, man, it just seems like the other side's on its heels and you're on your toes. And that's what happened. Gregory, do we need a younger backup than Marcus Mariota? No. You can have an old guy. He's only going to play a little, you hope. So I think Mariota's good now. He may get, he's got ties to the, Vegas team now with Bobby, the coordinator. So I could see maybe Vegas tries to make a move for him. There's talk that Miami would like him to be a backup there, but that's about money then. Because if you're not going to get a chance to play anywhere, then where are you happy and where's the money? Let's see. Defense wins championships, Mike. We've been talking to George Allen lately. Dime. Is Sam Hartman up for next for QB2? Nah. Might be QB3, though. I think he's got another year. Dizzy got his first copy of Command Post magazine. Thanks. It comes 7 times a year. I actually am putting together the free agency one we're printing in 2 weeks. So you'll get the free agency edition around the 1st of the March. And we do draft and we do other stuff. So I should have one here to show you, but I don't. So sorry. Okay. Let's see. Thomas. So yeah, Mariota's got family out in Vegas, but I don't know if he had another kid in December or not. Was it Mariota had one? Several players did. I know that. And sometimes it happens too. If you're a backup, you want to be somewhere closer to home. I get it. But players usually follow the money. The money. Say it with me. The money. Yeah, I know you did. That's what always keeps players more than anything. But, you do have to stay here, a lot. You get a little bit of vacation in June, July, but pretty much you're here from May to June. We get about a few weeks off. And then when they come back, they're here from, let's just say August 1st to now almost. It's a long time not to get to go home. You get a bye week. If they got the 18 game schedule, they'll have 2 bye weeks in there. And that would be a little easier on players. And that's a long grind, man. I even felt it this year. Raymond, the Commanders need a home run back. Exactly. I've been saying that. I'm disappointed with Brian Robinson. I really had high hopes for him. I like his running style. It reminded me of Larry Brown. Didn't crack 800 yards any of the 3 years. And we could talk about reasonable excuses. I mean, getting shot is a big deal. But after 3 years, I'm ready, in 17 games, I need a 1,000-yard back. on there. Need a guy that's going to average, 4.5 a carry. And some of that's the line. I mean, we could go round and round about that, but I would like to see them upgrade at running back. I mean, I'd like to see them upgrade at like center and guard. I mean, Bjadic and Allegretti played their hearts out because they got hurt early in the year, and those guys were just banged up, and I give them all the credit for doing that. You'd like to get better at these positions. Gregory, Jerry Jones thinks he's close to winning big with Dak, huh? I don't think so, Jerry. No, 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 no. I mean, Dak's kind of almost like Kirk Cousins and all. I call them empty calories. They can put up stats. They look good at times, but do they win games? I mean, yes, Cowboys won a lot of games with Dak. Did they win big games? No. Kind of like Kirk. Dizzy, what do you do in the snow? 6 to 12 inch. Is it 12 inches now coming? Well, anyway, we're getting a big snowstorm tomorrow. Like the second big one and the third one overall. We hardly got any snow recent years. I guess global warming's over. I shovel for a while, and I got a neighbor that's got a big plow, which is really great living down here. So he'll come by. Let's see. You need to cancel 2 preseason games. I agree with you there, Jesse. Really, since they don't treat preseason games with any respect and don't play guys, screw it. Just have a scrimmage for a week against another team like they used to, and then just do it, because they don't hardly use these games for anything anymore. Just seems like a waste of time. I do not have a snowblower, Steve. I have a really small snowblower. It's like a foot wide. It's good for paths and all that if you have a small thing. I use it around the car, but I don't have a big one. Because I'm going to put this big snowblower in my garage. They take up a lot of room. And typically around here, you don't ever use it. You might use it every few years. And screw that. So I've always had neighbors with snowblowers. And now I'm old. So I'm like, my chest hurts. Could you do my snow for me? I mean, I did have a heart attack 20 years ago. So people feel sorry for me now getting old, and they do it for me. So I do around the cars, and my neighbor came by and used his plow and did it all. And Thomas was nice enough to offer, but I didn't want to make him go to all that work. But we appreciate it, Thomas. Let's see, Greg. Will this be a good draft for offensive defensive linemen? Haven't looked at it enough. I will say the one I looked at was running back. Doesn't look like a good year at all for running backs coming out. It's always a good year for linemen. I mean, let's see. Heard they hope to add a game by 26 or 27, Gregory. Now, I don't think it's going to happen until 29. That's when I believe they'll start negotiating again. Goodell heard from the union. Union said no. And then usually they say, well, we'll pay you all this more money. And they go, okay. But they're kind of reaching the end, man. Players know they're getting beat up. But here's my thought about that. Players go, it shortens careers. Okay, well, if you play another game, you get a proration of your contract, that much more money. Will that extra game this year cut you a year on the back end? No. So you're getting more money up front doing it this way. If you're one of these guys that only last 3-4 years, you're getting more money that way with an extra game up front. Then, because it's not costing you that year on the back end. Coaches have often told me the reason players only last 3-4 years, a lot of the fringe players, is because they do anything to make the league. They give you that 110%. Once you've been in the league a couple of years, they start slacking off to like 80, 90%. And then that young guy doing 110 takes your job. And coaches tell me that happens all the time on fringe players. Steve, going back 16 games, that ain't happening. Not handing back the money. Let's see. Larry, go back to the regular kickoff. I don't know. What did you guys think about that? I mean, it didn't really – the concussions were way down. Injuries were down. So that was the success of that. So I don't think they'll go back to the old style because they're trying to keep players healthier like that. I mean, the NFL owners don't care if any player is getting hurt. Let's be honest. They don't want to see him get hurt, but they don't really worry about it. How many second and third round draft picks do they have? KRT, I think one of each is it. They don't have a big stockpile of them. They're not the Washington Wizards that collect second round picks like candy. My God, the Wizards just, I don't know. I can't tell if it's a better team or not because so many people changed. And at one point, they had all these second round picks they traded for. And they made another trade where they sent 4 second round picks to another team for somebody. I'm like, no wonder the Wiz can't get any better. Man, the Wiz, they're on track to win like 12 games this year, maybe. It's just hard to watch. I do like watching Maryland. Maryland sometimes does some stuff, but Maryland's, if Gary Williams had this Maryland team, he'd be at least to the Sweet 16. Maryland's got a decent team, got some good shooters, and they seem to want to play defense and play hard. But I don't know, basketball anymore in college and football in college is changing so much with these NIL deals. It's hard to really get into it. And I've been a Maryland basketball fan since 1973. That was my first big team I loved. Had Elmore, McMillan, you old guys know who I'm talking about. They were great players. Thomas, we might as well get rid of the onside kick. Yeah, you have to announce it. Hello, we're going to kick this ball 10 yards. Where's the strategy in that? I don't like that rule at all. Okay, Gregory, you heard it could be on the home opener short list for KC and Philly. I hadn't heard that exactly. We're still waiting to see if they go to Madrid. But I don't know. I mean, maybe Philly against Washington, that's a possibility. White Rabbit, thank you. Thank you for coming. Lady Terrapins have another good team. Steve, I know Brenda Freeze well. I helped produce her by her big book on the season they won the national title, so I got to know Brenda pretty well. I love Brenda. She's wonderful. The first time I met Brenda Freeze, I'll tell you this story. I'm covering Maryland men's basketball for a couple of years after my heart attack and kind of doing things a little slower for a couple of years. Had to have open heart and all that jazz. So I was covering Maryland, and the women's press conferences were right before the men's press conferences. So I got there a little early, heard the end of Brenda. She comes over to say hello. She was new. And she says, why don't you come up to my office sometime? We'll talk. And I said, and this was the first year of Xfinity Center, as it's called now. So I said, okay, but where's your office? Ooh, did she get mad at me thinking I was disrespecting her? And I said, well, listen, I knew where the women's coach office was at Cole Fieldhouse, but this is a new year here. I'm not being a smart ass. And she says, you know where Gary's office is? I said, yeah, because I cover Gary. I don't cover you. She goes, well, I'm across the hall. Slam. And I went and saw her. And Brenda's a great coach and a really nice person. So if you ever see, I mean, she's done a great job with Maryland women's basketball. Won a title, been to a couple other Final Fours. She's done a great job. Joel, the Wizards are depressing. I would say that's the beginning of that emotion. Oh, God, it Lobix is here. Okay, well, you're finally here. Where you been? Half an hour. Oh, geez, I even missed begging for money already. So if you see the dollar sign below me down here somewhere, whatever it is down there somewhere. Anyway, it looks like a dollar sign. You can always give me money there, or you can donate to Rick's Hawaii cause. Help buy me a luau or a hula. I was going to learn a hula dance, but I would have to get hip surgery. So anyway, if you want to donate to the cause, by the way, last week we donated. Was it last week? We donated money to that ceramics pottery class. Friend of mine's daughter's in, we raised about $100 and bought them a lot of clay. It was a brand new class, so thank you all for that. I forgot to mention that, but they're going to build a monument to me, and they're going to need more clay. So anyway, so since I'm being a whore, let me just put in Venmo and PayPal if you want to donate to the cause. I'm thinking next year of taking the Monday Night Chat to Substack, where you got to pay $5 a month to follow me. I haven't decided that yet, but I'm looking at it. So we'll see. So it always helps. I mean, part of it's just a respect thing, to be honest. I donate an hour. It's nice to get a lot of people watch. More people watch on replay than watch live, believe it or not. Nobody else is does this kind of show. They have other guys that do great shows. They just don't talk about the same things I do for a reason. I don't talk about things like they do for a reason. I mean, really, do we have to talk about the cover too again? So I'm more of a gossipy news writer than a X's and O's guy. So that's why I do the show, and it's always nice when people say, "Okay, here's $5. You know, you're a cheap whore, but at least you're cheap." Yeah. Steve's halftime show. Yeah, not my music on there. I mean, I knew who Kedrick was, but I didn't really know his music at all. And some of the choreography was kind of cool. Where they did the American flag kind of thing. And Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, we all want to listen to him. I wish he talked more as Uncle Sam, but not my kind of thing. I mean, the NFL owners used to be so conservative with halftime acts. I'm surprised that they went that way. But next year it'll be Donnie Osmond and his brothers. I don't know. Brent, what would you say is the percentage that the Commanders move back to RFK? And will they change the stadium name? That's a good question too. I would say it's probably 70-30 right now that they will. DC has finally acquired the land. The DC City Council last week accepted the land lease. It's for 99 years. So that's all done. So now they have to finish dealing with Harris. And Harris was asked last week, so who's going to pay for this thing? And he just goes like, I mean, you can't talk about that during negotiations. You can't sit there and go, I'm going to play tough ball, but I'll cave at the end. So I don't know about that. Jelly Roll for Super Bowl 60, Steve. Well, I heard some of his music. It's good. It kind of freaks me out with all these tattoos on your face. Jelly Roll, what are you doing? Facial tats? No, Mike Tyson should have shown you guys. Don't do this. Whew. It kind of scares me. I don't have any tats. That would hurt too much. I'm not doing that. My dad had a tattoo. He got in the Army, fought in Korea War. Always told me the tattoo was the dumbest thing he ever did. I'm not into all this body art stuff. But hey, you be you if you got one. Let's see. TV. McLaurin's got a year left. What would you do? Would you trade him for Parsons or Garrett? No. Fans would go, wow, Terry's the most popular player on the team. Not doing that. No. Especially since they don't have a lot of extra receivers. Okay. Oh, yeah. The RFK thing. That was all. They picked RFK just to tick off LBJ, who wanted the stadium named after himself. And they did it at the last minute. I've talked about this before. They did it at the last minute just to tick off LBJ. It wasn't that we loved RFK so much. And there's been times like when the Nationals came, they wanted to rename the stadium, get a sponsor, and Senate said no because RFK was U.S. Senator, among other things. The politicians did not want that. But I think what you could have is something like Capital One, stadium at RFK Field or something like that, or Capital One Field at RFK Stadium. Have a dual name. But you know what's going to happen? You and I are all going to say RFK all the time. We're not going to say Capital One. So it's a tricky thing. Somebody explained to me at the Nats don't have it's Nats Park, which is nice. And I thought, how much money did you leave? And they said, no. Here's how it works. They got different areas of the stadium all over sponsored by different corporations. And so they're making more money that way than if they name the stadium. So I think RFK will stay on that level. If I could go in Goodell's office and ask for a goodbye, when would I want it, Gregory? Halloween, middle of the season. I think that's the best one. It's been too late. 3 years in a row having like a week 12 bye, whatever it was. That's ridiculous. And then you got to wonder if you go to Madrid, then how's that play into it too? Steve, your dad had a tat Marines. Yeah, my dad was in the Army, fought in Korea. Had a bayonet wound that he showed me. At least that's what he said it was when he was fighting in Korea. Robert, the Puppy Bowl was a better game. I saw the Puppy Bowl for about a minute just because I was changing channels and I didn't want my granddaughters to see it or else they'd never let me watch the regular game. So the grandkids weren't big on football yet. All right. Brandon, Scary Terry is off limits. I agree. I think he stays forever. Steve Folger's Coffee Stadium. Okay. I don't care what they name it. Doesn't really matter to me much. I mean, I'd rather not be Ted's Furniture Barn or whatever Bob's Furniture thing it is. Best Super Bowl commercial. I like the one early where the kids like the fighter who beats cancer. Thought that was a great commercial. The Jeep one was a really good one. But I would say overall the commercials, like that Jeep commercial that we all saw, besides the 7 million to air it, but they also spent another 25 million doing it. I don't know how much the actors got, but wow, they spent $32 million on that ad. They better sell some Jeeps. Especially think if you're in the second half you have your commercial and nobody's watching anymore. That would be crazy. Okay, let's see. Steve, the funniest one was Pringles. I don't know. I didn't like the mustache thing. I thought it was boring. God, even though the Eagles won, it's funny seeing Taylor and the Chiefs choke their three-peat. Yeah. But then you saw Jahan Dotson make a huge play down to the one. You thought, what? Where's that been? Then you saw Samaje Perine on the other side again. You're like, what? The young Clydesdale was okay. It was a decent commercial, but not as good as the Clydesdales commercials usually are, Mike. Dizzy, Eastern Motor Stadium. There you go, where your job's your credit. I don't know if they still do that so much with players, but I remember when they were around all the time, years ago, players getting cars, at Eastern Motor. Yeah. Let's see, Gregory, call the new stadium Daniel Snider Commander Stadium. Yeah, I don't think so. Snider Stadium sounds good, but you got to spell it the right way. Didn't have a lot of movie trailers. That's true, Steve. I mean, my grandkids all watched. At one time, they were like, "Ooh, see the movie trailer, the dragon one." They like that. So Todd's with me on the two commercials too. They were good, but it was you got a boring game. Taylor's being booed. The commercials are just okay. The halftime act wasn't my kind of thing. It was like, you're going to still watch the second half? I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, there's nothing else going on. I might as well watch it for the heck of it. You don't go a whole season and bail the last hour. So, nobody donated any money on this last horror plea. You guys hit the thumbs up button if nothing else. That'll at least make the algorithm say, oh, people like Rick. So, you got to make the algorithm happy. That's our overlord. Let's see. Clayton, most movies have been horrible the last 10 years. Well, they haven't been as good as they used to be. A lot of repeat ones, too. Let's see. What are the realistic Maryland Stadium locations? Greg, really just the Landover one, where they built it next to the current one. Be a little closer to the Metro stop. I think it's that if you've been to the game, you know where that is. The Metro stop is south side of the stadium. So it's about a mile walk, which isn't that bad, but it'll be built, I guess, on that side of the current stadium. They knocked down the old stadium for parking. I did a video, and I may have written about this too, that, it's a new RFK stadium, whenever it is, if they really do it. They're not going to have nearly as much parking because DC is going to take some of that other land for all the things they want to do. So parking is going to be a good $100, I'll bet. I haven't heard anything about personal seat licenses, but there are places around the league now that parking's $100, but there won't be a lot of tailgating room, and you're going to take the Metro and $100 to park. Seriously? I laugh. It reminded me my aunt Butts passed away. She's in heaven now, I'm sure. She lived in Jacksonville. So when Jacksonville got the Super Bowl, she called me up and said, "Can you get me tickets?" And I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "Listen, I'll go $100 a ticket." And I thought, okay, I ain't got to do this, because I said, but I can get you a spot on the bridge down the road to watch the game for $100. I can't even get you to park for $100. And she says, "Well, I don't want them." And I thought, oh, thank God, I don't have to go looking for Super Bowl tickets. Those are not easy to get, nor are they cheap. Okay. Todd, well, he picked the Eagles. There you go. I just didn't want to pick the Eagles. for it. Landover National Harbor, I don't think is a site really anymore, Steve. I mean, they talked about it a lot, but I don't think that's there. Dizzy got 2 copies of the 100th Commanders. Okay, great. Plus, command post. Well, you're the man. Looking for Hail to RFK. Get some stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. All right, Dizzy. I would try and hold on. Oh. Let's see. All right. I am not selling these, but I wrote for Sonny, I wrote for Billy. These came from the man who actually produced them. He's passed away a couple years ago, I guess now. Had heart problems. Poor guy. But he used to sell these for $1. And, he made a lot of money before they made him cease and desist. And Edward Bennett Williams, who ran the team back then, threatened this big lawsuit against him for copyright infringement. It doesn't say Redskins. It doesn't say NFL. But, this guy was like a 20-year-old college kid. So they bluffed him out of it, So that's why not more were sold. Brandon, thank you so much for chipping in. Same Todd also. Thank you so much. But he gave me these 2 a few years back, and I'm not giving them anymore. I hooked him up with Sonny. Sonny wanted a bunch for his kids. Sonny is living in Florida, and that's where a guy, Ted Schumacher, I believe was his name, who did these. He also retired to Naples, Florida, and he got to meet Sonny and all that. Sonny's a great guy. Let's see. Todd, I work at Goodwill on Sundays. Oh, come on, Todd. You got to take off a little bit. Gregory, is Virginia totally out of the race? Yes, totally out of the race. Dead. Sorry, not happening. Virginia, look at that arena deal that fell through. They just don't want to kick in anything. Clayton, probably going to need Garrett and some high-profile players. I agree. To justify those ticket prices. Well, if they're going to the NFC Championship game regularly, you'll pay more to go. If they stink, you won't. And, I think the bottom at the new stadium, I've seen the studies. I think they're full of bull about it. But they do have $70 seats supposedly there. I don't believe that'll happen. I think maybe there'll be a few of them, but that would be it. I think 125 is probably your bottom buy-in on tickets. Mike, remember Clinton Portis with his personalities? Yeah, man, Thursdays he did them. It was really cool. I'd never seen anybody do anything like that before. He had some great ones. Steve, Sonny was the first quarterback you watched with the Redskins. There you go. Yeah, me too, I think. Yeah, Sonny would be the first one I saw too, and then Billy. I don't quite go back before that. I'm not that old. My God, I've been watching the team since like '69. So I was really the first year I kind of noticed them more because they stunk and nobody talked about it. And there was a baseball town back then with the Senators. Back in the 60s, it was a baseball town. The Redskins didn't become really dominant until the Senators left town after 71, and George Allen showed up and went to the playoffs a bunch of years, and that's when everything changed. But during most of Sonny's years, this was more of a baseball town. Dizzy, thank you so much. I do appreciate it all. I do. Yeah, I just appreciate that people were willing to do that. That's why I'm trying to decide if I want to go to Substack. Only 3 of you will pay for it. No, I won't make any money, and we won't get to have all the people do the show. I don't do commercials on the show. Yeah, maybe you noticed that. Now I know Netflix, YouTube throws in commercials. I don't have anything to do with that. I get like a penny every time somebody watches one, but I don't like to do a lot of commercials because I'd rather just be a show between you and I. But it's nice to have some kind of financial support. I mean, Hawaii is, I hear it's expensive. I don't know. We got lucky. We got a great sale on something. I'm not rich, but we got a half price cruise fare back on Black Friday. So that's how we could afford it. And I used all my Capital One miles to fly out there. So it's a cheap way to go. I'll be drinking a lot of water on a ship because they charge you for sodas. So and you can't smuggle them in either. Weird. I don't know. We're going to go see. I told my wife when we got to Hawaii, a couple of things I wanted to see, and then the rest I didn't care. I got tickets to go see the U.S. Arizona at Pearl Harbor. They're free if you go online. The government gives them away. They have companies that buy those tickets and then try and sell you a tour for a lot of money, but you can get them straight from National Park Service. So we're going to go see that. I've always heard about Pearl Harbor, of course. So I wanted to see that, and I wanted to go to a luau one night and eat the poi, as Fred Flintstone would say. So well, we're going to see a volcano. I know we're going on different stuff. I don't know. I've kind of waited till we get up on it. We're going to LA for a couple of days and Seattle for a couple of days each way. So we don't have those horrific long flights like the 17 hours I did to Osaka. Whew, that was rough. Steve, remember when FedEx first opened over 90,000 seats? Yeah, I mean, I asked Cook, I said, listen, you could do 125,000 here. Back then they could have. And I said, why didn't you make it a bigger stadium? And Cook said, because it could have never gotten anybody in and out of this place if we had that many people. And that was true. They've done much, much better with traffic in recent years than they did in the early years, partly because there were so many more people. Well, yeah, it was a disaster for the first few years of parking and traffic. Flying Turtle, thank you so much. As far as a new back, would you desire more of a north-south or an east-west? I want a north-south. I want you to run straight ahead. That's how you get yards. Go bam somebody. You don't see Saquon running on the side. He goes ahead. Todd, do you think Commanders will go after Myles Garrett? I definitely, or Debo. Debo is interesting because Peters, of course, was in San Francisco, so he knows what he's got there. So I don't know how he feels about him. Myles Garrett, you definitely got to pick up the phone and call. See what's that. Thomas, well, Thomas, come with me. I got a big suitcase. My wife tells I need a big suitcase for this trip because we're gone for 2 weeks. My wife tells me, hey, I found a really great suitcase. It's big. It's perfect for it. And I was waiting for the rest of it. I said, oh, yeah, what? Where? She goes, well, I'm taking it and you're getting my old one. That's 44 years of marriage. I knew that was coming. So she gets this nice. It's nice. And I got an old blue one, but hey, I don't care. That's how you're still married 44 years. You don't care about stuff like this. Steve, if you go to Alaska on a cruise, the Alaskan beer is more potent. I didn't know that. After this, I'll have 4 states to go: Nebraska, Iowa, which I'm thinking of going later this year. Go see Field of Dreams, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to, I'm turning 65. I want to go do some stuff before I get too old and quit working as much. I don't know about the latter, but I'm going to try and go do some things. I might go to Europe next year. I was thinking this year, but maybe next year. And I still have to go to Vermont and Alaska. So I'm hoping to get to the 50. The Big Jack. Yep, I'm the guy who wrote that, Mike. The workers told me all about that, and I wrote in the paper they were calling it the Big Jack. And so that was my scoop. And Big Jack, let's see. Oh, here it is. I still have one left. The Big Jack beer. There it goes. This is what they sold. And the company went out of business, and I wanted to buy all the labels. They had a bunch of labels printed, but not on there. I said, sell them to me. Why? What do you want for? What do you care? I got money. I figured I'd do something with them. And I've never opened it, by the way. I'm afraid to now. But he was, they wouldn't sell them to me. Robert, Sonny and Billy were the quarterbacks when you were a fan. There you go. And Joey T was a good quarterback. I mean, he won 85 games for Washington. Flying Turtle's got an Arizona State running back you want. I've read about him. I don't know. Steve, only been to FedEx once. They lost to the Saints. Oh, gross. Well, all right. I'm trying to think. They've asked me how many games have I covered. Including the ones off the TV because I don't travel anymore. Somewhere near 600, but I really couldn't tell you an exact number. But somewhere around there. I mean, I've been around forever. Let's see. Karush, okay. Do you think when Josh Harris said we're bringing back our brand uniform, he meant the old logo? I think, you might see that logo on something. I'm not sure it's going to be a uniform on that. We're still waiting to hear about that. Mike, I know 50-pound limit on luggage. I got one of those scales I put it on just to make sure. The wife likes to weigh in around 46 pounds on her luggage on it. All right, best place in downtown DC to get a cheeseburger. Rich. Well, Z Burger is a pretty good place. There's a couple of them now. There's one on Wisconsin Avenue or Connecticut Avenue uptown. It's right across the street from American University. Bill Clinton used to love to go there. Poor Bill Clinton. There's a guy who loses weight and looks like hell. You know, Dick Cheney is another one. That's what I'm trying to do mine slower. This poor guys. If you lose a lot of weight, you shouldn't look like hell. You look like you're half dead. Poor Bill Clinton. They won't let him eat a cheeseburger anymore. But there's another Z Burger, kind of around GW. I've gone past it. I think it's around 19th Street or somewhere around there. Maybe somebody else remembers. Yeah, I've seen it. I've passed it a few times. That's a good place. Z Burgers. Z is the letter burger. That's a pretty good one. Trying to think who else has a good burger. I don't usually eat a lot of burger. I don't eat burgers much anymore. Eat pizza. Nobody's asked about my pizza reviews. Wahlburgers, I've heard about, Steve. I can't say I've eaten there, though. Dizzy, how early? I got a plan to take me and the 4 kids to Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, Volcano. I would start now. Hey, Hawaii is 80 degrees every day of the year. You know, that's the great part of that. So you're not trying to time the weather. Capital Burger in Chinatown. I have eaten there, Brandon. That's fine. I just don't like to pay so much for burgers like they do. I'm cheap. That's one thing I found out when you start to get old is the prices of things are just crazy. You think, I'm not paying that. Where younger people look at it and go, not that bad. But they're making $100,000 a year now. You know, and I didn't make that. That's the weird part. One of the weird parts of getting old. Look at Tom Brady, too skinny in the face. Yeah, Mike, I would have kind of agreed with you there. I think you put on a little bit. I saw Giselle just had a baby with another man. I didn't know they were divorced. I don't keep up with Tom Brady. It's love life. My wife knew all about it. She reads the gossip magazines or whatever they're called now. Steve, my brother's down in Florida and comes back in a few weeks. All right, so take him to the burger place. Mike, I can rarely buy eggs. I've heard about that. I don't really eat eggs either, and too much. So I heard. I mean, I saw they were like 5 something a carton at Aldi's, but I heard other people paying $10. That's the thing. You're willing to pay $10. I'm not willing to pay $10. Plus, I live down by the Amish, and you can get eggs a lot cheaper too. The Amish farmers. Mojo, what chance do you give us to reach the NFC Championship game next year? If they were to get Myles Garrett, I'd say even money. That guy could make a difference. You know, you look at Fowler. Fowler had 10.5 sacks this year. Tell me a game that Fowler really made the difference in. Can't. I mean, there was one he did okay, but it's not like Dexter, who would scare everybody to death. Steve, $5 at Charlotte Hall Food Line. Hey, I stopped there. I didn't see you. I used to sell the whole hens for $5, Clayton. Dizzy, I missed the game after a sports talk show like Ken Beatrice. Well, I think next year you'll see it. What it was this year is just the post-game show was on Twitter. A lot of people didn't know that. With B. Mitch and Santana and another guy. They were on Twitter, X, whatever. So I think next year, I think you're going to see. That's because they lost the Monumental Sports thing because Ted Luna just didn't want to do Commander stuff. He wanted to concentrate on his teams. And since he owned the network, he could get away with that. Let's see. Mike's right about you got to build a team around Jaden. I wasn't at the store today. Well, no, I wasn't. I was in La Plata doing it. Thieves broke into a diner in Seattle and stole 500 eggs. Okay. That's sad. Rich. Gregory, really like Jonathan Allen? I'd say it's even money. I mean, he might want to stay now because the team's good. I mean, that was his complaint before is he was tired of playing in the circus. Nobody blamed him. I was tired of covering a circus. So we were all that way, but Dan's gone now. Mojo, anybody hear about uniform changes? Yeah, I mean, most people watch the show for like 15 minutes. So that's why we get some of you watch longer. That's why I answer the same question. I have heard rumors, but that's it, Mojo. Have not heard a definitive thing yet. After I come back in March, I should know something a little better. Hamburger Hamlet, Robert. I haven't been there in forever. Again, I don't even know if they're around anymore. It's like a little tavern. I went to White Castle when I was covering the Kentucky Derby. Did that 20 years, and I'd never seen a White Castle. So I'm in line, and people are ordering 20 burgers, 15 burgers. I thought, my God, what are you people doing, man? How are you eating 20 burgers? And then when it was my turn up, I saw how small they were, and I thought, oh, because I ordered two, and the guy goes, two? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not that big a glutton. He goes, then I saw him, I thought, oh, okay, bring me a few more. So White Castle was okay. They used to sell them in the freezer. I don't know if they still do or not. I don't think there's a White Castle anywhere around here. I'm waiting. What I really want is a Buc-ee's. I want a Buc-ee's somewhere around here. I heard they're building one in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I will drive to go see it. I've heard so much about it. And what do people always say about Buc-ee's? They go, they've got a whole wall of beef jerky. A whole wall. So, okay. I mean, I've eaten beef jerky. I guess I'll look at it. I don't know. I've seen videos of the place. I like 100 gas station pumps. Yeah. So where they just opened a Royal Farms near me. I'm already tired of the chicken after 2 weeks. I don't know Jack Brown's. Let's see. Steve, wait a minute. You can't bail the last few minutes. You've been with me the whole season. You only missed one show because you got sick or something. But all right, if Steve goes, I gotta go. So it's up to you guys. Convince Steve to stay. But yeah, I'll put up. It's going to be the week of free agency. I'll do it the Monday before free agency. I think free agency is March 13th, something like that. So yeah, I got like a few Mondays off. Thank goodness. I'm going to spend them away. But thank you anyway, Steve, if you're leaving now. You've been great all season. I appreciate it. Dizzy, how can we run Leonis out of town? Be nice now. You can't because the dude doesn't get in any personal trouble, which is what got Danny out. I like Dave Poland as a person. Abe was a great guy. Terrible sports owner. Ted, I like Ted as a person. But boy, the Wiz just stink. But the Caps are great again. So I don't quite get it. I think the problem is Ted trusts people too much to run things, and they pick the wrong guys. Mike sending you a few postcards from the islands. Yeah, how long? I'll be back for they will probably. Wynn says the Buc-ee's is worth a trip. Great. Steve's with us a little longer. Judith, thank you for coming. I do appreciate everybody doing this. I mean, yeah, you could be listening to somebody else's podcast, I guess. It wouldn't be as good, but you could do it. No, I'm kidding you. I mean, this has been an interesting experience in my life, being on YouTube and talking like this to everybody. Actually, kind of keeps you from being lonely sometimes. And I've never interacted with fans like this so much. So I was thinking about Rich Chandler today, who always was great with fans. Something Rich might have. I was thinking about a problem. I thought Rich would know the answer. But this has been fun, overall. Sometimes I'm just tired from the Sunday, Monday grind, but you guys have been great to deal with. We only had one episode of Eagles fans busting in being jerks. I was wondering if they were going to be here tonight, but they're probably all passed out by now. So I'm glad everybody could answer the questions. This is the easiest thing I do. I don't have to think of anything. You guys just ask the questions, and I go for it. So it's been a great experience for all of that. Todd, I'm glad you guys could have a chance to do something like this. Steve, Buc-ee's is ginormous. That's what I hear. It won't be one in Southern Maryland, but Fredericksburg is probably the closest, and that's about an hour 15 from where I live. I'll go. I go to Fredericksburg now and then. That's where, two of the big battles of the Civil War were fought. If you ever go see the battlefield, it's pretty amazing. Gregory really thought the Wizards would have been shopping more. I don't know, man. How many players did they move back and forth? Quite a few. Thomas, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to touch base with you. I want to get that garden we talked about doing it. A lot of grease was used on the polls this weekend, Mike. Yeah, I heard about that. Philly fans. Deshaun, thank you so much for everything on there. So I guess we're done. What the heck? It seems like everybody's done. We haven't talked about pizza or anything yet. So if we're down to talking about the Wiz, we're really done. How much snow are we going to get? They're talking 4 to 7 here in Southern Maryland. I don't know. I hope. Luckily, I don't have anywhere to go. I'm not one of these poor government people that are called back this week. They had to come back today in D.C. Haven't heard how traffic went yet, but snowstorm, poor people. Put in a leave card if you have half a brain. I'm sure I'll do a little video from Hawaii because it is still the United States, and so I don't get charged extra for using my phone. I like that versus Europe. I mean, Hawaii is 5,000 miles. I looked it up, 5,000 miles from D.C. So this is the second longest trip I've ever taken outside of Osaka. So I'll probably film something. I don't know. I'm going to take the days as they come, but at least I can probably get a signal. So that'll be fun. I really thought much about going to Hawaii, but my wife was like, we can go and it won't cost much. All right, let's go. Eat a bunch of Spam in Hawaii? Really, Gregory? I mean, I've eaten Spam here. It's been a while. What, with the pineapple? That'd be kind of wild. I used to do radio in Hawaii. And I asked the guy one time, I said, it's like 9 in the morning in Hawaii. Who cares about the Redskins out there? He goes, military. That's who's listening to this. Oh, okay. Nelbert, thanks for coming in. Yeah, Thomas, but the COVID traffic, that was, if there's anything good about COVID, it did give us a break because we were like at this breaking point of DC traffic when COVID hit. And now I wonder what it's going to be like now. I mean, there's really not much of a break around the clock traffic anymore in this town. It's like New York. You drive down, I come home from Commanders games at, 2 in the morning and there's cars all around me, 2 in the morning. The other day I got caught in a backup off DC 295, backed up for a couple miles, it grinds. I get there in the right lane is a Prius that somebody's putting gas into. They run out of gas and the electric power. I was so mad. If I had been the Hulk, I'd have grabbed that car and threw it in the Potomac. God, was I mad. How the hell do you break down? Couldn't even get to the shoulder? Oh, and putting gas in it? Yeah, I was really angry. Hulk mad when that happened. Whew. All right. Okay. Yep, Steve, you're right. Gas went down because nobody was using it. Should have bought 1,000 gallons then. What are the chances Washington gets an international game? Gregory, I think they got a good chance of being in the one in Spain. I think that's I would give them half a chance on that. And that might be kind of cool to go to. I've never been to Spain. I always heard great things about it. All right. It's 9:03. What the heck? There you go. We're finally done for the season after however many weeks it is. Yeah, Thomas, you're right. There's going to be a lot more primetime games next year. And poor Rick's going to be like, oh, I'm tired. So, enough already. All right, Steve, thanks so much. Don't take a wooden igloo. All right, good. They have igloos? I do want to hula dance. So if you see me hula dancing out there, it's kind of like, I guess, the president's dance where he goes back and forth. Any old guy dances like that. I know they make fun of the president, but I'm like, any guy over 50 dances with the top, and they don't use your legs. That's classic stuff. That's sad, but true. We don't do electric slides at my age because you might fall and then break a hip. I fell twice recently. Fell in the ice at Redskin Park, or Commanders Park. Hard, and didn't even leave a bruise. I guess all that milk does the body good. So I lucked out. All right, I keep talking and I keep saying I want to leave. Before you leave, hit the thumbs up button. I will see everybody in March. But hey, we're still doing daily videos. So you can still see me at 6 in the morning. Not doing 2 a day all the time right now. Kind of taking a breath. But we're continuing on, working on some new things. My 52 Questions for God show will be coming in March. I decided to wait until I came back to start it. So we're going to have a good one. It's 10 minutes, one question on Sunday mornings. And yes, you still have to go to church on that. And otherwise, we'll see what all happens. So thanks, everybody. And I will see you soon. Have a good month off. Bye.